First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to organizers for great possibility to be with you. I was with you several times online, and finally, I remember that moment when you were in Japan, I think, and I was in Liman, which is on the front line in Ukraine, and I joined you from there. And I think it was important because what's going on in Liman, what's going on now in Avdiivka, what's going on now on the left bank of Dnieper River is something which will define the future of the world for next decades. You know, the topic is what we should do with this authoritarian axis of evil that we see today in the world. And my answer is very clear. We need to make not declarations, but tanks. Not declarations, but drones. Not declarations, but missiles. Because the only thing all these authoritarian regimes understand is the power. The only thing. And do we really have this power today? Let us be frank, because I hear, you know, I'm sorry, maybe I will be a little bit sobering here, because I hear here again, you know, next year we will have a conference in Yalta. I would be happy too, but I'm not sure that it will happen. And we need to be frank when we are speaking, because we've heard it in Ukraine. This summer in Yalta, it didn't happen. Because what we have today is a great problem with the Western countries which lost their hard power, many of them. UK army is the smallest from the Napoleonic times. Just today there was an article in Wall Street Journal which says that France has less than 90 pieces of artillery. That is a number which Russia loses in Ukraine in 1 week. Germany, Wall Street Journal says, has the ammunition stocks enough for 2 days of a big conventional war. It's Germany. So what army in the whole Europe can protect the region and can stop Russians? That is Ukrainian army. And that's what we are doing today. Definitely we have also US army. But the main army, the biggest army in European continent today is Ukrainian army. And that is the biggest asset. And when I hear all these discussions about Ukraine, should be a member of NATO or not, I think many forgot that it's not just Ukraine. We desperately need to become a member of NATO. We need security. But NATO also needs us. And that is absolutely mutually beneficial. But I heard again today here, just moments ago, Russian army, second army in the world, and we are smiling about this now. I will not smile so wide. I think if Russian army really was not the second largest and strongest army in the world 2 years ago, they're quickly learning. Now, they are battle hardening right now. Tell me what armies in the world have a battle experience of 21st war. It's just 2 armies in the world. Of big war, of modern warfare, it's just Ukraine and Russia. And that is a huge threat for all of us. So we can't be, asleep, feeling that, okay, Putin showed he's not so strong. Because many people, they don't care about Ukraine, let us be frank. They don't care about Chechnya, Ichkeria, they don't care about Tatarstan, they don't care about these nations. They think, okay, if Putin is so weak, he is not a real threat for us, so we can continue to ignore this threat, how it was happening for years. And that's something which I want now to ring the bells. Russia is now much more dangerous than it was 2 years ago. Much more dangerous, because their army is battle hardened, because their economy is on war footage, because there is no more constraints for Russia. They don't care about international law. They don't care about any sanctions, because unfortunately they decided that they survived sanctions. The big question is why the sanctions are so weak. It's another story for another big conference. But the fact is Russia survived the sanctions. In the third quarter they have plus 5% in their economy. It doesn't look as an economical disaster, really. And that's what's happening right now. And tell me now, what will happen? Let us imagine the next future, the next months, the next years. So hostilities in Ukraine finish in some way. If Russia will continue to control substantial part of Ukraine, that will mean that Putin will be emboldened. And tell me, please, after this, will Putin come back to peaceful life? Will he take these hundreds of thousands of people back to Moscow? Never. He will start a new war. The next victims could be Kazakhstan, Georgia, Armenia. He will not start with Article 5 countries. He will start with other neighbors without Article 5. But after this, if he will be again successful, he will try Article 5, sooner or later. And that is a clear way to nuclear war. So I'm not smiling right now, because Ukraine we are bleeding every day, in very severe way. It's very difficult what we have today in our country. And the only way to act today is to stop Russians now. That's my address to the West, that's my address to the civilized world. But that is my address also to colonized nations of Russian Federation. Because in reality, I see that many of them are waiting for Ukrainian victory to become free. I'm sorry, this will not happen like this. This will not happen like this. Now you have unique window of opportunities. Chechens, Avars, Ingushi, Tatari, Buryati, all nations, you have unique window of opportunities. Yes, Russia is very much involved in Ukraine. Their best forces are there. But this window of opportunities is closing on our eyes. And the moment, half year ago, Russia was much weaker. And if half year ago something would start in Caucasus region, that could be the end of Russia. Still it is possible. What will be in 1 year, I don't know. I am not telling you, I am not one of those who are saying, oh, Russia will exist forever. No, Russian Federation definitely will disappear. Definitely this is a kind of a zombie empire. The problem of Russian Empire, we are now in Rome. What was the strength of Roman Empire? Watch this. We are here in the hall where we have a column, probably from Roman times. That is the strength of empire. Why? Because Roman Empire, Pax Romana, they were giving something to the world. They did not even need legions to come, because they were giving civilization to many nations, and by these they were expanding. The main problem of Russian Empire is that they are not giving anything. They are not, even Soviet Union was given at least the idea of some social justice, of some new world and new human. What Russia is selling? Strange mix and cocktail of Stalinism, Orthodox Church, and Putin's craziness and conspirology. So definitely, this empire will fall apart. But the question is when. And it's not that it will happen tomorrow or in 1 year. That can happen in 10 years, in 15 years. But these 10 or 15 years will be years of incredible and awful suffering of millions and millions of people, including those who are Russian citizens today. So that's my address. Yes, we need not to be afraid of Russia. We need to be strong enough to deal with Russia. But we also should not be in kind of a wishful thinking that Russia appeared to be so weak that we don't need to make anything and just wait, that they will collapse and the world will be happier. This will not happen this way. Or we will act, or we will do what we can, or nothing will happen. They will destroy next nations, and they can do this. They can wipe out new ethnicities from the map of the world, which is absolutely, that would be a catastrophe for all of us. So I address to you, I ask you to be sober enough. I address to you that we need to stop this monster right now. And this is the best moment. And this moment is bought by thousands of lives of Ukrainians who are fighting today courageously for their country, but not only for ourselves, but for all of you. Thank you very much.